Imagine a city cradled by clouds, perched precariously on a mountain ridge so high that it feels like you re-standing on the edge of the world. A city of stone, so perfectly engineered that it seems to have sprouted from the very rock it rests upon. This is Machu Picchu. For centuries, it was a ghost story, a myth whispered among the Andean peaks, a lost city swallowed by the jungle, hidden from the world. But how? How could an entire city, a marvel of human ingenuity, simply vanish from history? The answer isn't just about geography or conquest. It's a story of choice, of secrecy, and of a people's unbreakable will to protect their most sacred place. It's a story that challenges everything we think we know about power, legacy, and what it truly means to be lost. To understand how Machu Picchu disappeared, we first have to understand why it was built. This wasn't just another city. Most historians believe it was a royal estate, a sacred retreat built around 1454, the great Inca Emperor Pachacati. Think of it as a spiritual Camp David, nestled 8,000 feet in the sky. This was a place of ceremony, of astronomical observation, and of deep connection with the mountain gods, the Apis asterisk, who were believed to control the weather and the harvests. The location itself was a prayer, surrounded by the winding Urubamba River, forming a natural moat, and flanked by sacred peaks. It was a place where the earthly and the divine could meet. It was never a large commercial hub or a military fortress. Its population was likely small, maybe 750 people at most, priests, nobles, and their attendants. It was exclusive. It was secret. And this secrecy was woven into its very foundation. The Inca were master road builders. Their network, the Capac-Own, spanned thousands of miles, connecting a vast and diverse empire. But the path to Machu Picchu was different. It wasn't a grand highway. It was a pilgrimage trail, a difficult, winding path designed to test and purify those who walked it. It was intentionally hard to find. You had to no asterisk, it was there. This wasn't a place you simply stumbled upon. This intentional isolation was the city's first line of defense. It was hidden in plain sight, protected not by walls, but by the formidable, almost vertical terrain of the Andes. Then, less than a century after its construction, the world turned upside down. In 1532, the Spanish conquistadors arrived, led by Francisco Pizarro, a small, ruthless force armed with steel, guns, and disease brought the mighty Inca Empire to its knees. They swept through the sacred valley, sacking cities, melting down priceless artifacts of gold and silver, and imposing their rule with brutal efficiency. They captured the Inca capital of Cusco, just 50 miles away from Machu Picchu. They rode along the Urubamba River, right below the mountain ridge where the city sat. And yet, they never found it. Why? The most compelling theory is that by the time the Spanish arrived, Machu Picchu had already been abandoned. A civil war between two Inca brothers, Huascar and Atahualpa, had just ravaged the empire, weakening it from within. On top of that, diseases like smallpox, brought by the Europeans, traveled faster than the conquistadors themselves, decimating up to 90% of the Inca population. It's likely that the inhabitants of Machu Picchu either succumbed to these diseases or fled to join the resistance against the Spanish. The city, once a vibrant center of ceremony, fell silent. Think about that for a moment. The people who lived there, faced with an existential threat, made a choice. They left. They walked away from this architectural masterpiece, this spiritual sanctuary. They let the jungle reclaim it. The vibrant green of the Amazonian cloud forest crept up the terraces. Vines snaked around the perfectly cut stones, and a blanket of vegetation slowly, methodically, erased the city from view. It was an act of profound sacrifice. By abandoning their sacred home, they protected it. They knew the Spanish were driven by a lust for gold. If they had found Machu Picchu, they would have looted it, destroyed its temples, and erased its spiritual significance, just as they had done everywhere else. By letting it disappear, the Inca preserved its soul. The local people, the Quechua-speaking farmers who lived in the valleys below, never forgot. For them, it was never lost. It was simply quiet. It was a sacred place, a part of their ancestral landscape. They knew the paths. They farmed some of the lower terraces, but they kept the secret. For over 300 years, the outside world remained completely oblivious. Imagine the generations of parents telling their children, up there on that peak lies a city of our ancestors. We do not go there. We do not speak of it to outsiders. It is ours to protect. This oral tradition, this collective silence, became the city's most enduring guardian. Then, in 1911, a Yale professor and explorer named Hiram Bingham III arrived in the Urubamba Valley. He wasn't looking for Machu Picchu specifically. He was searching for Vilcabamba, the legendary last stronghold of the Inca resistance. He was a quintessential adventurer driven by a thirst for discovery. A local innkeeper told him about some ruins on a nearby mountain, a place the locals called Machu Picchu, which means Old Peak in Quechua, led by a local farmer named Melchor Artiga and accompanied by a young boy who acted as a guide. Bingham began the grueling near-vertical climb. He hacked his way through dense jungle, drenched in sweat, battling insects. He probably thought it would be another minor ruin. And then he saw it. First, a series of beautifully terraced fields. Then, a wall. A wall made of stones so perfectly fitted together without mortar that you could unslip a knife blade between them. He pushed through the overgrowth and stepped into a plaza. All around him, ghostly grey granite buildings rose from the jungle, floor temples, palaces, homes, all remarkably preserved. Can you imagine that moment? Standing there, alone, as the clouds parted, revealing a silent stone city that no outsider had seen for centuries. It must have felt like stepping out of time itself. Bingham wasn't the first person to see it, of course. Local families were living and farming right there, but he was the one who understood its global significance. He brought the story and, more importantly, the photographs of Machu Picchu to the world. His 1913 article in National Geographic made the lost city famous overnight. The story of Machu Picchu is more than just history. It's a powerful metaphor for our own lives. How many of us have a Machu Picchu inside us? A sacred part of ourselves, a dream, a passion, a core value that feels hidden, maybe even lost. We build these incredible inner worlds, these places of immense potential and beauty. But then life happens. The conquistadors of doubt, fear, and responsibility arrive. We get overwhelmed, we compromise, and sometimes we make the difficult choice to abandon that part of ourselves, to protect it, to keep it safe until the time is right. We let the jungle of daily life grow over it, hoping that one day we'll find our way back. Maybe your Machu Picchu is the novel you started writing, now sitting in a dusty folder. Maybe it's the passion for painting you gave up when you were told to get a real job. Maybe it's a desire for adventure that you've silenced with routine. We abandon these parts of ourselves, not because we don't love them, but because we're afraid the outside world will judge them, monetize them, or corrupt them. Like the Inca, we let them go to preserve their soul. But here's the beautiful, hopeful part of the story. Machu Picchu wasn't lost forever. It was rediscovered. Its silence was broken, not by conquerors, but by someone with a sense of wonder and a desire to understand. And that's the journey we all need to take to become the Hiram Bingham of our own lives, to get curious about the parts of ourselves we've left behind. We need to be willing to do the hard climb, to hack through the jungle of our own excuses and fears, and to rediscover that sacred city within. What would it take for you to start that journey today, to find the path back to your own lost city? It doesn't start with a grand expedition. It starts with a small step. It starts with listening to that quiet whisper from a part of you that has never forgotten. It starts with asking yourself, what have I abandoned that is still worth fighting for? What sacred part of me is waiting to be rediscovered? The world will always have its demands. It will always try to pull you away from your true north. But the story of Machu Picchu teaches us that what is truly sacred can never be destroyed if it is held in the heart. It can be hidden, it can be silent, but it can always be found again. Your inner world, your most authentic self, is not gone. It's just waiting for you to come home. So go, be your own explorer, rediscover your wonder, climb your mountain. Your Machu Picchu is waiting. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the incredible stories that shape our world. And share in the comments below, what is your Machu Picchu? I'd love to hear about it. See you next time.